So the deal with Diablo 4 is it is a live service game. It's a live service game that you could maybe say, like say a Guild Wars 2, involves you buying the full game, but then there is continued monetization, with the implicit deal being continued monetization in return for continued content. And Blizzard have finally outlined essentially how that whole thing is going to work and how they're going to monetize this game. Obviously, after Immortal, this is something that had people worried. Unsurprisingly, this is all built around these seasons, with Diablo 4 having 4 seasons per year, and Blizzard saying that they've actually beefed up a dedicated team to provide people with seasonal content. With D3, it did always feel like it was more of a skeleton crew on the seasonal content, whereas here, I think it really does seem like, and when we actually go into what they're planning for the seasonal support, there's quite a lot more content and more effort being put in, which is good, but also what we would expect given their monetization plans.
Yeah, it starts to look a little bit and feel a little bit more like a Destiny season than a traditional Diablo season in that sense, or maybe a little bit more like a Path of Exile League, where it's kind of, oh yeah, we need this to be a live service, so instead of, oh, you bought the game, you get to play the game over and over with some changes, like D3, it goes, oh wait, yeah, we're now in like the ring with all of the games that have like constant updates that are like going, here's a literal new reason to play the game with new content, new context. Things feel different. Now they're kind of going, well, obviously you're in that modern arena now, so you have to hold up to those standards, which building a team to work on that obviously makes sense, because you don't want the usual problem of, I think is kind of a little bit of a Blizzard thing of, and I mean, obviously a AAA thing in general of, hey, we finished the game. Great, we finished the game. Wait, what do you mean the game never, what do you mean we're never finished? What do you mean we make this game forever? Fuck that, I'm out.
Yeah.
But then that's where you go, well, we have a team separate to the core team or working alongside the core team that, you know, hopefully you would imagine, like, if you were thinking of this like a relay situation or like a, you know, a series of like team marathons, you definitely want the people on the dedicated content to feel like, say, season 2, season 3. You'd want them to feel a bit more fresh than the people who just shipped the game.
Yeah.
So at least they're aware of that.
And also, let's be real, there is no way that this game would work as, in a way you could say, there's no way that it would work without having some sort of continued live service monetization, because they would need to make that make sense development-wise. If they release this game and then followed it up with Diablo 3-like seasons, which are significantly smaller, then people would just play a Path of Exile instead, because it's shipping more content. And it's doing that because of its continued monetization. So with the way that the market has went and the appetite the players have for continued content, there's essentially no way that a more traditional Diablo experience would work. Now, the way they're doing it with seasons is that to do the new seasonal content, you need to make a new character, which is standard, right? Standard in that genre. So they say it's just best, they feel, to have a clean start in a season. I also imagine that does help them with development. And they talk about creating unique experiences with each of the seasonal things, right? So there's new gameplay and also new questline stuff that introduces what they say are new challenges, mysteries, and possibilities into the level up experience. That this will let them introduce new characters or revisit old ones and expand the lore. So I don't know how they do it in PoE, but certainly the idea that Sanctuary gets to evolve and the new characters' journeys through that can maybe reflect things that happened in the past season. Obviously, we have no idea whether Blizzard will make good on that promise, but there's actually quite a lot of promise there.
Yeah, it's a case of they need to finish the game, and then, like I was saying, they need to start a marathon of content, because that's what it takes to compete with PoE, because it's got its leagues. And obviously PoE recently had a very big kerfuffle in terms of, like, I don't think the content was particularly bad, but there was some small things how they handled, like loot drops, and how they communicated that had basically, because their league released their last, was it Friday, I think it was last Friday, around there, and it was a bit of a shit show over the weekend.
Yeah, there were some undocumented changes, I think, that the community weren't happy about.
Yeah.
Should say, just so we're not burying the lead here, they did overtly say that you will not pay for power in this game, and later on they went into more detail there, because there actually are some gameplay boosts in the Season Pass, but they've done that in a way that there is zero way in which you can pay to get those.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a cynical angle on it that we will talk about, but it's like they basically explained seasons very quickly in order to be able to kind of counter the, you know, the leaked plans that we were talking about before. it very much seemed like this was very intelligently, our next quarterly update needs to talk money, it needs to talk shop. Here's how the seasons work, and now we get to talk about the money. Obviously, you won't be able to pay for power. Any game that lets you pay for power is clearly a stupid cash grab and shouldn't be respected in any capacity. Hello, Diablo Immortal. It's technically Lost Ark, but it's, people won't agree with me there. But that's the thing where they are very much... Anyone who expected out of Diablo 4 is definitely like... I think maybe just hopeful for a faster crash and burn for Blizzard. I think because it's kind of obvious to anyone there, no, we have to find a way to do it. So obviously this will look a little bit like PoE, but with just a little bit more, a little bit worse. But you're also paying for it, and there's no stash space, so it's like slightly different. But I think the ultimate takeaway is like it's fine, but there's stuff we do have to get into and talk about in depth.
Yeah. So on the seasonal content, basically, they say that these new seasons are going to be meaningful changes to level up experience that, you know, you'll feel before the first hour of play on a new seasonal character. They say that they will have these live events. Those will vary and provide time-sensitive events that encourage the community to play while expanding the narrative of the setting. And they have an example of one of these, which is a warning of an impending invasion of the drowned. This might last for a weekend, or maybe the arrival of some strange peddler amidst the crags of the dry steppes, and that these will provide just some new adventures, unique rewards. Essentially, events, which, in this world, and I suppose we've talked about this in our other channel, where friggin' everything's becoming a pseudo-MMO, this sort of thing does make sense. I know people will come in and then say, FOMO, but I suppose we think about the seasonal content in other games, and this sort of thing is par for the course, right?
Yeah, it's like you can get away with FOMO and like missing seasonal events as long as you do something. As long as you don't have anything that's like super gone forever. Yeah. You're allowed to miss an experience. That's kind of okay. I think it's probably better on average for players who are playing that there are these things instead of saying, well, you can't have fun because what if someone's away that weekend?
Yes.
That's one of the things you kind of have to contend with. But I think as long as they can make sure there's no like kind of like the Destiny problem of, oh, sorry, you weren't around when this exotic was the hot thing. Oh, you're going to have to go out of your way to get it, even though you're doing something like from ages ago, or you might have to go buy a season that you skipped just to get the exotic. I think that happened maybe once. I'm not super sure on that, so obviously correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like that's one of the problems they have to just basically avoid, more or less.
Yeah. So another point that they talked about just before we get into the money side of things is they'll be pretty, they say anyway, they'll focus on reviewing the meta builds in between seasons, ensuring that there's relative balance between the classes, but also saying that they do not want to balance fun out of the experience. I think when you go for a Diablo-like experience versus maybe a Warcraft or a Final Fantasy or something, it's more important that you don't balance with the nerf hammer all the time because, I mean, the core of an action RPG basically is feeling overpowered. Right, so they want to have all of their classes feel overpowered in distinct and fun ways. And they also mentioned just, the community having some say in the priority of quality of life fixes and that kind of thing. So, with this business done, let's talk about the real business because goddamn, I know it's what you're all thinking about. Yep. Me too.
Believe it or not, there's a cash shop. And also, believe it or not, there's a battle pass, a seasonal one. Wow. I'm shocked. I'm amazed. This is horrible.
Hang on, Matt.
Probably.
Please give me your pearls. I need to clutch them. I'm taking the piss. Look, for the two of us, we find battle passes to be frustrating. A lot of these things we think mess with people's motivational psychology in a way that's not really healthy for the long term of the industry or the people who participate in its products, right? So just to be very clear about what we both think about this sort of thing at, I suppose, the most first principles sort of basis.
Yeah, fundamentally, I think people would enjoy Diablo 4 more without a season pass, at least in the long term. Yeah. That's what I genuinely think. But also enjoyment isn't engagement, and that's the thing we kind of have to deal with. Will people play it more because there's a season pass? Arguably, yes.
Yeah. So there's the season pass, and there is the shop. Now they say the season pass is it's not the playable in-game content, that quest.
Just a thing.
So there's the seasonal journey. Now the seasonal journey is just content. It's a quest line with time-limited rewards for each chapter. They've said that completing the seasonal journey will be quite a feat, and that the final step will be a demanding, extremely difficult encounter with an especially deadly foe. Now, I remember starting D3 for the first time and not being an ARPG player in that sense. To me, it was just, oh yeah, I'm going to play this game's campaign and fight the boss at the end. So the first time that I get to fight Diablo at the end, it feels kind of cool. It's like, oh, look at this, I'm doing a big hard fight solo, and okay, it really wasn't that hard of a fight. But the idea that every quarter I can go on a journey with a super hard boss at the end, to me, that sounds like a fundamentally pretty good thing. So these seasonal journeys are free for everybody, and they will especially contribute to the season pass, right? So I think for me, the question will be, how much narrative is in this? Is there a narrative context to what you do as a part of the seasonal journey? Or is the seasonal journey more just a list of, chapter-based challenges? On that, we're not particularly sure.
Well, they clearly, based on everything we've said so far, they clearly intend for it to be actually, hey, this is a full bit of content. In the same way that PoE will drop a league and they go, here's all the fluff, here's everything surrounding a league that you'll want to know, here's the new place, here's the new the new concepts for you to deal with, the new items, etc., etc. It is like, this is a full, I think the closest comparison is going to be, it's a Destiny season, but you don't pay for it. Because obviously with Destiny, you pay for your season passes.
You pay for your season passes, and it has the cosmetic store.
Yeah, and this is going to be, the battle pass is going to be there's going to be the premium battle pass, and then there's going to be the cash shop, and they may have to juice those a little bit harder in some capacity, or tie some stuff together. But fundamentally, it feels like this is just kind of Destiny 2, but maybe like a step back, in like a good way, a step back from being exploitative. Although there's a couple little kind of bits and bobs.
Yeah. So as with most battle passes, there's a free track and a paid track, with of course the psychology being that you can complete the free track and then look at the premium track and think,
look at all the things I've already earned.
I've earned these, but I need to purchase the key to unlock them. Maybe I'll do that. So what's contained in these then? So both have got cosmetics, both have got premium currency, and the free track has gameplay boosts. XP boosts, right?
But
and you'll immediately think, oh, I'll just buy tier skips to get the boost. No, more on that in a second.
They've done something that I think is interesting here, where they have actually limited the free battle pass gameplay XP boosts, but they've done it in a way that's really, and I'm going to say this is awkward, right? Because it's about your seasonal journey, progress. You can only use them once you get to a certain part of the seasonal journey, even if you've unlocked them. So it is no, you literally have to play enough to get these. Everyone will be paced the same way, effectively. But it is fundamentally tied to the battle pass, which means it is that kind of thing of, oh, you want your XP boost from playing the game. Basically, you can't completely ignore the battle pass if you wanted to and be on par with everyone else, which is a really awkward workaround. Because this feels really awkward that someone went, of course we're putting XP boosts on the free battle pass. They're for everyone. But then someone went, but skips. And then they went, shit, we didn't think of that. Fuck. Can we tie them to the seasonal journey progress, maybe? And then someone went, that's a good idea, we'll do that.
Yeah.
And it's like a workaround that makes it feel a little bit fairer and a little bit nicer, and gets rid of that actual problem of, can I buy all the XP boosts the first day I play? So it's kind of a little bit awkward, but it is it works. It's like they say, we want to be clear, players can't unlock season boosts more quickly through purchases. There's no way to unlock more boosts or boost at a faster pace by spending money. And that's you know what? That's exactly what you want to hear. Exactly.
Yeah. So they said players can purchase tiers, but they won't speed up getting season boosts because they'll have to earn level milestones to apply them. In other words, there's no way to shortcut getting season boosts by buying tiers. They must be earned.
Yep.
And that is definitely the sorts of things that we need to hear.
You can feel that whatever team is involved in this, whatever obviously Joe Shelley's the designer, moved up to director, whatever part of the leadership of this team, they are able to hold back the tide of monetization worries to a degree.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Well, they're obviously extremely aware of Immortal.
I imagine they know, they're thinking, shit, we need to be in brand protection mode.
Yes.
In the same way they currently are with World of Warcraft, going, we need Dragonflight to have all of the messaging be perfect, otherwise our brand is fucking dead. And the brand is all we really have at the minute, because they've got so many games in the works and stuff. But if the reputation of their IP names goes away, and that's what big companies care about more than almost anything else in the world, it's developer headcount and IP are the two things they care about. And as soon as you start to lose the value of your IP, your reputation, you'll lose everything.
Yeah.
Everything will crumble.
So let's talk about the shop then, right?
Yep.
The shop. They say that it's designed from a player experience first approach, which, I mean, I suppose... Actually, I suppose you then think about Halo Infinite, where players, some of their feedback was even, hey, even your shop is shit.
Yeah.
Which was quite funny. So anyway, they say they want buying things to feel good before, during, and after the experience. When people buy something, it should be because they want to, not because they feel like they have to. So they've outlined some principles in a way that is definitely designed to make people feel a bit better about things. Number 1, everything is bought with premium currency. No item sold will have any impact on in-game stats or features. Everything is optional. There are transmogs of weapons and armor that's found in the game. Everything should be grounded in Diablo's world and compatible through individual components being mixed and matched. And this is something that, I mean, look at Battlefield 2042. They try to put Santa in the game and people say, What? Why is Santa here?
Yeah, sorry, if I wanted to play Fortnite, I'd go play Fortnite. Where, Rick and Morty can Kamehameha Goku, that's fine. That's totally okay in Fortnite, but you don't do that shit in your Battlefield.
We don't want John Cena running around in Diablo. That would be silly.
Yeah.
So that's definitely good. Blizzard are also talking a lot about transparency here, saying it's important that people know exactly what to expect before a purchase. So they've built a pretty in-depth preview function here. And it's a funny little thing, Matt, because is the preview just to let you see the shiny thing more up close so that you can be like, ooh, I want to get that? Or is it so that people know what they're actually getting, which would be a bit more like the sort of trying on things that's in the Final Fantasy XIV store.
That recently, yeah.
Well, it's not in the store. You basically go to an inn, go to a bed, and then you basically dream of the things you can purchase.
Yeah, and that's
sort of cute way of doing it.
Yeah, that was very specifically, and this is why I have some sort of issues with how this is generally built, and the whole idea of everything is ultimately a funnel to the store, which is how basically everything monetizable in the world is built. And if you aren't building things that way, you don't value your monetization. And that's where, like, Yoshi P was saying that the very much, like, the fact that that's so out of the way is because they are absolutely terrified of what they will do if they say all of the store stuff is, like, accessible and easily found to be aspirational in the game. They're like, no, you have to go out of your way to do it, do this very specific thing. And obviously the dreaming thing is, like, aspirational enough, but it's like, it's so far removed from any other game content that it is very much, okay, now you have to go externally to the store, as opposed to, oh, you just finished your season journey. Oh, if you go to the problem with that is, oh, you go to the Battle Pass page now. Oh, look at all the Battle Pass stuff you've been ignoring. Oh, look, you have to click that. Oh, that's a cool premium unlock. Oh, look at that. You didn't want to touch the Battle Pass. The season journey for the XP boost brought you over to the Battle Pass to claim it, which I assume is going to be the case based on how it's framed. It could be different and like when the game actually ships. But then what does that also do? Oh, well, I guess you probably hit the claim all button on your Battle Pass to claim everything at once. Okay, well, that's going to claim you some premium currency. Oh, look at that. If you just added a $5 to your premium currency total, you'd be able to buy the cool big aspirational thing. And it's all how that funnel is designed. That's like the fundamental problem of it's very hard to avoid actually designing funnels towards monetization. And that's the stuff that, like, I think people start to feel too overtly, especially when you're playing Diablo 4 and you know about Diablo Immortal, you know about Blizzard's name, and you're not going in with good faith going, I'm going to play Diablo 4 and see what happens. You're going into Diablo 4 with both your arms up and, like, just waiting for it to swing at you going,
yeah, that's what Immortal did.
Is this game fun? Okay, it's fun enough, and then just bang, season pass. Like, fuck, damn it, yeah. That's the kind of thing where it's not necessarily, like, particularly immoral or unethical or evil. It's just like, that's how the thing is designed. Fundamentally, that's how it's designed.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously intend to make money. I think it's
and there's nothing wrong with that itself either.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make money. Sometimes people have this weird thing where they're like, what, you want to profit from this?
No, well,
it's just like, no. The overall best situation here is, like, you know, we do want companies to generate a profit from making a good thing. That's how we get good things.
Yeah, you just want it to be entirely, like, completely rationally consensual from both parties going, is that a good game? Yeah, good game. Here's your money. thanks to the game. Cheers.
In Final Fantasy XIV, people get a deep, resonant, emotional experience from the narrative. They enjoy the content. Therefore, while there have been one or two dramas, they're broadly more accepting of the store because they overall feel like they're getting a good value in return. So in this situation, if these seasonal journeys actually have good narrative context, cool end boss at the end, there's actual meaningful content coming out, and basically, if they're like a Destiny season, but you don't pay for it, and there's a cosmetic shop, let's be real. Could you imagine Destiny 2 with the seasons being free, and then just Battle Pass plus cosmetic store?
That'd be,
that would be an upgrade. So if D4 can deliver an upgrade in that situation, that's good enough. Yeah. It's like, okay, how do you want to pay for a season then? Would you rather pay money and not have a store that's optional, or would you rather pay no money and there's a store there and a battle pass? Here's the secret though. The first thing that I said would never happen.
Yeah.
It would be like Destiny where you have both.
Yeah. And that's the thing where a lot of this is literally engaging in good faith.
Yeah.
More or less. And I see basically a lot of what the update was, obviously it's promises. They could change their mind. Someone at Blizzard could say,
yeah, pull a Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, listen, we need 25%. We have to, like, I guess, push our estimates from what we need from you to make this project work by 25%. And then someone down the chain's going to have to go, oh, we have to put some shit in this game. Or, you know, sorry, that's a really cool bit of armor you're working on. You're going to have to frame a way to put it in the store. And that's kind of the problem. And that's even one thing, it's not in our doc here, but I did want to talk about it slightly. But I think Colin will throw it up. But there's like, there's the cosmetics on the store that they showed off in their blog post. And it's like, these aren't, hey, here's your item sets. It's like fully like, here's a fantasy. Here's a whole almost like a marketing thing around. Like here's a vibe. Here's the Lion of Harriet. Here's the Heir to the Sea. Here's the Wraith Lord. So you can tell they're they know what they're doing and they're putting a lot of effort into like the actual marketing and all of this. But they are also they're pulling their punches where they need to, which I think is basically they're kind of acting in good faith. I mean, like they say here is saying, you know, it'll be subjective, but they have argued that best looking cosmetics aren't exclusive to the shop, which is one of the things that has been really bad over in World of Warcraft, where it's like you want the best thing in the game. Well, you probably go to the store. The last few transmog sets they've put on there are like substantially more effort than anything that goes into actual gameplay and stuff.
And often the
and
store mounts too. The store mounts they'll just have had that extra level of care. Whereas, I mean, I look at these, right? So the left-hand side is in-game for free. The right-hand side is monetized. And, you know, broadly speaking,
they look similar enough in quality.
Yeah, they all look similar enough.
Yeah.
Hitting different vibes. So that's broadly okay. I mean, I would obviously say if there was a way that we could earn all of the things via gameplay, you know, most people would say that would be better, and I'd agree with that. But I suppose it is what it is. A lot of people say playing Destiny, they will think, well, you know, fashion Destiny, fashion frame, that kind of thing. And obviously that's where the monetization comes in. And I suppose if you want continued content over time, how do you do that? You either pay for access via buying the season or monthly subscription, or you pay for convenience like stash space and boosts, or you pay for power, or it's cosmetics. And I think as far as all of those things go, cosmetics is the most benign.
Yeah. Yeah.
And broadly, when we look at the reactions from the community here, they're positive. They are positive, right? Very much, if Blizzard puts any form of power in this store, they will be hung by their own words.
They'll completely destroy their own game. They'll destroy their own game. They'll destroy their own franchise. And like, I mean, I think based on how they're communicating, right, I definitely think the Diablo team has a lot more freedom than we traditionally would expect from Blizzard team in a bunch of ways, away from like the bean counters, let's call them. But I think like there's something definitely like the team are aware that Diablo will happen, and they know we have to, we're treading water here. We really have to tiptoe around this problem. We have to make sure our players have absolutely no thought of Immortal in their head whatsoever when they make the purchase decision for Diablo 4. We need people, like when people go to the Diablo subreddit, they need to see like a pinned post or a highly upvoted and awarded post that says Diablo 4 is nothing like Immortal. It's actually a good Diablo game. That's what they want to see. That's what they need to see. And I think they need that after all the... Because even if you're not thinking about it from the likes of like Reddit and stuff, even if you think about it from more traditional media outlets, they're going to be aiming for a PC Gamer headline. Diablo 4 is what Diablo Immortal should have been. Well, that's a bit weird. But the idea of, don't forget Diablo Immortal, that was a glitch in the system. This is what Blizzard actually wanted to do. And you can see they're really putting the super effort in there. I mean, it's like...
if there's a boss, throw NetEase under it.
That's exactly.
What they'll... I'm not doing that to clear Blizzard's name.
No,
I'm saying that if you want to play public relations jiu-jitsu, that's what you do.
Yeah, no, obviously Blizzard are completely complicit in everything Diablo, and the people who lead the Diablo franchise were obviously complicit in it. To as much of an extent, there is an argument that maybe someone signed a deal that gave NetEase more control, and they weren't a part of that. But generally speaking, it was part of the Diablo franchise. We should never, ever, ever forget that. But we should kind of trust a separate enough team to kind of go... Basically, they do deserve a little bit of a chance of redemption.
Yeah,
at least.
It does make me think it was business terms that caused Blizzard and NetEase to split over the World of Warcraft mobile MMO.
Yeah,
God damn, I would love to know what that business disagreement was.
Same.
As one of these Redditors puts pretty well, though, they've really left themselves zero leeway for adding anything pay to win, so for now, I'm happy.
Yep.
Now, there was one other concern where people thought, okay, but could you trade a premium currency thing to another player? Asmongold tagged Diablo, and Adam Fletcher responded by saying, you cannot trade anything purchased with premium currency with other players. This includes items unlocked in the season pass. So there you go. Just saw your video on the blog, and I know someone in your chat had said, he said trade and not sell, and that message may be finessing. No finessing. You cannot trade or sell anything that comes from the shop. Just wanted to make that clear.
Of course. I mean, they know what happened with Diablo 3. They have all the data, and I can't remember his name, but the director for D3 obviously gave that GDC talk and was like, no, this was the real market auction house was a terrible idea, and that's why they got rid of it right away, because they know that doing that stuff in a Diablo game is kind of going to, at least like tagging in anything core to Diablo, is going to wreck it.
Yeah.
Unless it's something like Diablo Immortal or the WoW token, where it actually makes sense in that context because of those social elements of the game and those, like, I guess, different audience elements. But they know it's like the core of Diablo, in the same way that the core of Overwatch, obviously loot boxes were a hellscape nightmare. Obviously never manifested too bad in Overwatch, but it was definitely like one of the sparks that lit the entire industry on fire. Kind of, that's ending sort of well enough, I think. But it's like they do have the knowledge that the core loop needs to be super tight and super good. Otherwise, they're playing a short-term game. And I think they've looked and they're like, we have an out with Microsoft. We need to play the long game. Yeah. We really need to play the long game now.
So ultimately where I sort of come in this is basically, this will come down to personal preference. What sort of game do people want? It very much seems that if you just wanted to purchase the game, play the campaign, be done, and leave it, it seems like you could do that, but the overall intended experience is maybe more of a seasonal one. So if you are that sort of player, probably wait and get this on some sort of discount. Because it has such a, an ongoing revenue model, I have to imagine that there will be discounts available for this game, because ultimately what they want to do, a bit like with Destiny, is to get people just into that experience, right? Into the playing the seasons. The other thing then is, are you happy to play a season? And that's an interesting one for me, because I have never played a game like this seasonally. And that's not something that would traditionally appeal to me, because the idea of just doing the same thing again with a few modifiers is fundamentally uninteresting to me.
Same. Largely.
Now, if they can, via the seasonal journey, actually make that feel good, maybe I'm willing to give that a shot. Because obviously, if you think about a Destiny 2 season, you ain't resetting your character. Now, I know that, say, the soft cap for item level will maybe go up, and there will be a little bit of a grind to get to that, and that, you could say, is essentially functionally a reset of your character. That's true, I suppose, and maybe they don't feel like they'd be able to do that because of issues with scaling numbers in a game like this. But overall, it seems reasonable to me. I enjoyed D3 for what it was. I enjoyed Reaper of Souls quite a bit, actually. I thought it was just a fun little blast. I wish there was a bit more to that campaign. I wish they did continued expansions. But I look at this, and if they are going to be providing, that much content every single season, and also I don't have to pay for that in the same way I have to buy a Destiny season pass, well, then it seems pretty good to me. I know there's a lot of people who will kind of look at this and think, ugh, I don't want to play a live service action RPG. I totally, in many ways, agree and definitely empathize with that. I think there is another side to this, though, where, well, this almost gets a bit... I think about pragmatism and political philosophy, and it's an interesting thing, right? Because, do you just stand by your principles to the bitter end, or do you try to make some sort of pragmatic determination about things, thinking, okay, well, we have high and mighty ideas, but also we're contented with reality here, and we have to deal with reality. I suppose there's times I maybe, as I go older, start to be a little bit more pragmatic, and I look at this and I kind of think, okay, pragmatically speaking, everything is about attention these days. If if D4 comes out and it has the most threadbare seasons, and you have to wait 2 years for the next expansion, like, that will be a successful game. Its expansion will probably also be very successful. But the core player base for the online action RPG will still be playing PoE, because Blizzard won't be playing their game. And I don't mean literally their game, their business model. And the business model that is more modern, that is more engaging, that we know is literally working in the market right now, is that of Path of Exile. So if Blizzard don't try to meet that up front, they will not, they just literally won't be able to compete. So if they have, no loot boxes, no paid power, the seasons are free and come with content, and all the store stuff is then optional, that does seem reasonable to me. I mean, you compare that to Destiny, and that does actually seem to be better than Destiny, assuming the seasonal content is there.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically it's war has changed. Now this battle is now fought on a completely different level, and this is like, it's almost like, because you're saying that it would be successful if it was just a box game and then had expansions, and this is even excluding the magnitude of success, because we obviously know the magnitude of success for a live service game is substantially higher. It's a lot riskier, but you also, because you've got infinite recurring revenue stream capability, or close enough to it. Not infinite if you get limited cosmetics and stuff, but it's like very deep for like whales to put a lot of money in. Then that's like the magnitude of success greater. But it's more about the type of success. And Blizzard aren't interested in playing that game anymore. They just simply do not. I mean, Activision basically aren't either. No, like a lot of AAA companies do not want to play by the old metrics or method of success anymore. They don't want to do what Capcom's doing. They don't want to go, hey, we made a game, do you want to buy it? Oh, you bought it? Yeah, we'll make another one, and you'll buy that too. And we'll just make loads of good games all the time. They're like, no, we'll make one really good game and then make sure it stays good. The problem is they've been failing at making it good. It's like they never want to make a shit game, or they never want to make a game that people don't play. It's just like the metric of success. Do you go for live service, or do you go for the old-fashioned model, some might even say? Especially if you're in an industry business, the minute you'll probably call it old-fashioned. And that's the thing where they're now engaging. And they're now engaging in the modern model with all of their heart and soul. And in this case, they're doing it fine. And if you want a soundbite, it's basically, this is the new normal. It's unfortunate for a lot of people who want the old-fashioned business model and want the old-fashioned traditional, you go into the shop, you buy the thing, you never talk to each other again. Because that's, people enjoy that method of buying things. But now it's just more connected, always attention grabbing, always kind of trying to get more money out of you, which even if when it's trying to be fair, it still feels like it's trying to get more money out of you. And that's the new normal. In this new, the battlefield of war has changed. They're actually still abiding by decent enough rules with Diablo 4. That might change. And I still definitely have concerns about, I guess a little bit, not super concerned about the cash shop, because cash shops are easy to do reasonably, as a lot of games have kind of proven. It's the season pass and the battle pass and how players will emotionally react to that. And also the fact that Blizzard players and Diablo players, a lot of them are burned. And you're right to be. You're 1000% right to be. Because Blizzard's PR, I don't think they've ever really sat down and found out what the difference in objective and subjective truth are. Because Blizzard's PR team will sell you whatever the hell they want to sell you, no matter if it's real or not, because they're corporate PR. They don't give a shit. But then you get to the game devs, and whenever they're doing the communication, you can see they're trying to sell you something that you'll like.
Yeah, the devs have so much more skin in the game.
Yeah.
Like emotional skin in the game.
Yeah. So you're completely fine to be really cynical about it. But if you engage in even the tiniest modicum of good faith, you kind of have to take their word for it. But you'd never have to buy anything based on that word. That's the key. You kind of go, this is all good. We'll see how it turns out. I think it'll be fine, but I certainly wouldn't pre-order, and I certainly wouldn't get my hopes up, and I certainly, if I was an ARPG player, I certainly wouldn't delete my Path of Exile account.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
If the game comes out and it's good, I'll be happy about that because I've liked Diablo a lot in the past. It would be cool if I could like it in its real entry in the future. Obviously, there's a bit of Immortal where the name is tarnished. Name is tarnished. Blizzard is tarnished. They did do that, and we can't forget that, and we need to make them be very aware that we will not forget that, because that's the only way that we can ensure that it won't encroach on anything else.
Yeah,
it's tricky. I mean, it would be so nice to be able to sit here and just, plainly say, okay, they've given us an update. This feels really good. We're pretty happy about this. It looks better than Destiny 2's model, and Destiny 2 is a very well-regarded, very fun game. So, hey, happy days. But because they did Immortal, there's just always a bad taste left.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Can't get out of that.
Yeah, it's like if you think about it in like a straight line of like reputation, they definitely lost a lot of ground with Immortal, and we have to give them that ground back an inch at a time when and if they deserve it back. That's fundamentally it. Is like as an overall community of video game players, it's like you can earn this back because they do deserve some degree of redemption for the developer's sake. Obviously, Activision Blizzard as an entity, I do not give a single solitary fuck about any of them, especially at the corporate level. I do not care, whatsoever. But for the sake of the developers, for the sake of the IP and the games that people do like, and whatever fucking haunted spirit of Blizzard is still there somewhere, even if that's only in the players and in some ideas of some staff, it's like they should have a chance of redemption at least. And this is at least proving a little bit of good faith in there and going, yeah, we've made this really awkward, but we want to make sure you're not paying for stuff.
Yeah. Look, at the very least, they said they won't do this. That means if they do this, they're going to be in pretty fucking hot water.
We have a very big rock to drop on their head then.
So that's it for today. Let me know, what do you think? If you're a Destiny 2 player as well, let me know what you think about this as well.
Of course, yeah.
Destiny 2, it's one of those games, I have not came back to it, but I constantly have the itch. I mean, I basically I sit down and think, God damn it, skill up. God damn it.
Every time.
Stop it. Stop making me want to play Destiny 2, you bastard. I don't have free time. But I still have that hunger to play D2 because, god damn, that shooting is really fun. Anyway, if you're a Destiny player, let me know what you think about this business model. Anyway, have a good one. See you next time.